Hello everybody, it is Catherine Massell, Conscious Creatrix. How you doing? Happy Sunday. This is the weekly energy check-in for the week of June 23rd, 2019. I have been spending a lot of time this week experiencing some things that maybe some of you have been experiencing as well. There has been a big ascension wave of energy kind of moving through the collective, moving through our human experience down here on Mothership Earth, affecting all of us conscious sentient beings. Sorry, I'm trying to combine words there. And some of you have been reaching out to me because of something I posted earlier about the deja vu. I was talking about this earlier this week, the time loops. A lot of people have been reaching out to me and saying, oh my God, Catherine, I've been having weird dreams about this. I've been having loop experiences. And I'm going to talk about the difference between deja vu and time loops in a second, because there is a subtle difference there. But first I want to make sure I'm sharing this on my page. So I tried to do this talk earlier today while I was down by the water and it was really beautiful out, but it didn't work out so well. So I'm doing this take 2 little talk here today. So the difference between deja vu and time loops, and this is really important to talk about this week because this is something that is kind of carrying over from the energy of this week. It's going to settle down, it's going to calm a little bit, but there's something that you can do, and I will, of course, as I always do, give you tips and tricks to kind of calm this energy down and work with this energy instead of against it. But as we're coming into this period, the shadow period before Mercury retrograde, this is going to be kind of this week, the calm before the storm, because I think Mercury goes retrograde on the 7th of July. So coming up pretty soon, this is going to be the calm before the storm. So this week might have felt like a little bit rickety, a little bit weird. That's been true for everybody. So strap in a little bit and you're going to be okay. But I want to give you some information on how to deal with this energy this week. So please feel free to share this if you want to. I'm sharing it on my timeline right now. Please feel free to go ahead and share away. So this energy that's still carrying over from this week of lots of deja vu, lots of feelings like, did I do this? Did I just say this to you? Did I just go through this? The difference between deja vu and time loops is this. Deja vu is like a single experience that might be a conversation. It might be a kind of one thought leading to another that leads you into an action. But a time loop is a series of experiences, events, responses, reactions that happen in a sequence, and it keeps recurring. That's a time loop. And a lot of you have reached out to me this week after something I posted earlier, just like some little blurb that I posted on Facebook, about, lots of deja vu, time loops this week. Strap in, folks. It's going to be funky. It's going to be weird. It's kind of funny how many people reached out to me on Facebook Messenger and shared their experiences with me of time loops, not just deja vu, but having this kind of sequential series of experiences that seem to happen, and then it stops. There's like a pause, there's a beat, and then it starts up again. So if you're having this, go ahead and comment here if you're watching here Facebook Live, or if you're watching later on YouTube, or even if you're listening on my podcast later on. Very interesting experience. So what is happening is with this kind of accelerated experience of deja vu and time loops is that we're closing a lot of timelines of an old paradigm and we're moving into new ones. And we can work with this energy instead of against it by realizing and having the presence of mind to say, okay, I'm in something right now that feels like a sequence that I've experienced before. Or perhaps I've said this to this exact person in this exact set of surroundings before. Take a beat. Don't get freaked out, because this is happening to everybody. It's kind of like the normal. And it lets us know that we are able to close different time loops based on the next choice or the next series of choices that we make. Okay? And that can be choosing to align with a different thought, choosing to align with a different feeling. Let's just say you're in a time loop and you're experiencing this sequence of experiences. Well, what if you decided to change up how you're feeling about it right in that moment, or bring in a different thought? If you're choosing something different, if if you're making a different choice than you feel like you did before, what you are doing is accelerating the closing of that time loop. It's like you're collapsing the time loop by making a different choice, feeling a different feeling, thinking a different thought, taking a different action, okay? And the more you keep continuing on that trajectory, meaning you kind of follow your guidance on the choices that you're making that are taking you out of this time loop, you just keep going and making a different choice, a different choice, a different choice. Feels different than you would have maybe done before, okay? What you're doing when you do that is you're closing an old time loop that keeps you acting, feeling, thinking, having the experiences of the old you that kind of kept you in this kind of loop experience of the same outcomes over and over again that maybe weren't very good for you, they weren't serving you very well. And the more you keep choosing something different, and it could be really simple, like choosing to do one thing differently this week can close a time loop. That being said, if you choose to make a choice that is a familiar choice for you and just kind of your go-to signature way of moving through a set of experiences or a sequence of things, if you're making the same old choices, you're keeping that old time loop, old timeline alive. And instead of collapsing it, you're expanding it. So when you make a new choice, and it could be something very simple, very, very simple. You could be having a conversation with your wife, your husband, your mom, your sibling, whoever that, your daughter or your son, and having a different response or saying something different, or just taking a beat, taking a moment to kind of be in a place where you can be responsive instead of reacting. That's making a different choice. And something that's simple, something that's small, can have a huge ripple effect or butterfly effect that closes an old time loop that's not really serving you, it's not really life affirming, and it opens up a new one. And the second we make a different choice, and we keep following in alignment with something that feels like that choice, meaning we keep making like choices, similar choices to that one thing that kind of deviated us from that old time loop, what you're doing is you're opening up a new timeline. And you are creating a whole new path, a whole new destiny for yourself. And I really want you to really allow that word to kind of steep in you like a cup of tea. Your destiny is secured when you are making a series of different choices. And as long as it's affirming to you in some way, and you are in alignment with something that feels good for you, it feels right for you, it feels like it opens up the energy of your heart, it feels like it's lifting a burden for you to make these choices. Keep making choices like that, because you're opening up a whole new timeline for yourself that creates a completely different destiny for you. And this energy is very present this week. It is overwhelmingly present this week. But it is all, again, always telling you guys, I sound like a broken record, but it's all about having the presence and awareness to be able to realize, okay, this feels weird, this feels familiar, almost too familiar. Like I said this before, I felt this before, I've been in this exact interaction before. Stop yourself, take a beat, and think about, well, what happened next before? Because you will know. And make a different choice. Make a different choice, do something different. Think something different, feel something different. And then take an action that physically follows that up. Because when you take the action, meaning you follow through with something in the physical, in your 3D body, in your physical 3D experience, you take a different action. You perform or behave in some different way. You are grounding that ethereal experience of the thought or the feeling into your physical, and you're securing a new timeline opening for yourself, and you are ensuring that that old time loop or old timeline collapses. But the second you go back to making old, familiar, known choices that maybe were self-negating, you can reopen that timeline. This is something that I've been sharing with a lot of people this week, as I've been doing a lot of DNA activations this week. We talk a lot during the recap session. After I do a DNA activation with someone, we talk about, closing out contracts that are already done, they're already fulfilled. And sometimes we don't realize that we have completed a contract with a person, with an experience, with some sort of learning experience or event that we came here to have access to in this lifetime. We don't need to keep downloading it. We don't need to keep time looping that. But if we don't realize that we've taken the lesson and allowed our human awakening process to expand because the lesson has settled, we've downloaded it, we've marked it complete. If we're not present, we don't realize we've done that. And so oftentimes why it feels like we're in a time loop is because we keep recreating the same experiences of that lesson, but we already learned it. We don't need to download it again. We don't need to complete it again. It's already complete. But you're taking an action that opens up that timeline again. And that's why we can experience these time loops. And it gets very confusing for people. I understand. I know I might be talking about something that feels really esoteric and really out there, but the way this shakes out in the physical is that if you feel like you're in the same loop of predictable outcomes that don't feel very self-affirming, and in fact they negate your experience, they make you feel sad, they make you feel lost, they make you feel grief, anger, hatred, resentment, blame, any of those things that are on the lower end of the emotional spectrum, and it keeps happening over and over again, pull back the lens on what's going on. Go into that place where you're the objective observer of your experience and look at the subtle narrative there. What is it that keeps happening? What kind of people keep coming in? What kind of experiences continue to evolve into your experience and feel like the same old predictable thing all the time? There's a larger story there. There's a bigger narrative there. And sometimes we're so close to our own pain, our own trauma, our own story of who we think we are, that we don't see these things. When the narrative, the common thread, the common denominator of what's happening is right there in front of us because we're so close to our own pain that we don't often see it. So we have to kind of pull into that place within us, that field of consciousness, that field of awareness that's in us that really is an extension of our divine. And we need to pull ourselves into that perspective so that we can pull back the lens on all the moving parts of our life and saying, okay, this predictable outcome keeps happening. What kind of person keeps showing up then? What kind of things do you keep doing? What kind of things do you keep thinking, keep feeling? What kind of experiences keep kind of coming back again, over and over again? What lesson can you finally come out and actually verbalize, okay, I see what this is. I mark this downloaded and complete. The intention of that alone allows you to move into a place of power where you can create new self-affirming experiences just by creating that intent. I choose to see this lesson. I choose to download it and mark it complete, and I choose to be done with this karmic loop. That right there will close a timeline, will close a time loop. But you must be responsible for taking different actions. If you want to secure a different set of outcomes, you must start thinking something different, feeling something different, taking a different action. And making any different choice, even one different choice this week, can close out a timeline that you feel has been haunting you, an experience, person, an event that just feels like it's haunting you. It's like it's on you, like white on rice, and you can't shake it. What's the lesson there? What are you refusing to see? What are you pretending to not know? It's time to take full responsibility for that and take one different choice, a step in a different direction that you wouldn't normally take. And this is an invitation, of course, always, to step out of fear, because fear is the most self-limiting emotion we could possibly have. Hey, Christine. And it often keeps us from taking a step in a bold new direction. It can often keep us from feeling like confident or have enough self-belief or self-trust that if we take a different choice, it will lead us to a different outcome. How can it not? Anytime we make a different choice about anything, it leads to a different set of outcomes. It allows us to walk a different path. And if we keep choosing things that take us a little bit more out of our comfort zone every single time, don't be surprised at how quickly things will change in your favor. And why? Because you're stepping forward, refusing to let fear dictate what you will do or what you will not do. This is the key for everything now, people. This is the key. Losing that fear. What is there to fear? What's the worst thing that could happen? Take a different step that feels different, that challenges you a little bit, that excites you a lot, but maybe scares you a little. It's okay. You can't get it wrong. Get away from this idea that I have to do it perfectly. The second I set out and try to do something different, it has to be perfect the first time. Hell no. Hell no. And in fact, you'll learn so much more about yourself and discover and realize so much more about who you truly are and what really makes you tick if you do get it wrong. because you'll learn so much about yourself that you'll be able to be equipped with the knowledge and the insight, the wisdom, that next time you attempt it, you know what to do. You can course correct. You can't get it wrong. Don't get caught up in trying to do it perfect this the first time you try to do something different, because you'll never try anything. So these are all the energies that are really opening up for us this week. So this energy of the deja vu and the time loops, we can work with this. We can calm the energy down. It's going to calm down a little bit anyway this week, but we can calm it down more, and we can work with the energies this week by simply taking one choice, making one choice that takes us in a different direction, taking one step in a different direction that we wouldn't normally go in. That's all it takes. And you'll find that when you have that self-affirmation of taking a step in a different direction and you didn't die, you're still drawing breath, it actually feels good. It feels like an unburdening. You feel lighter. You feel less dense in your body. You get kind of addicted to it. And then you want to do it again. And then you want to do it again. That's exactly what the universe is inviting you to do, to leave that fear behind, because it is crippling your growth. It is crippling your ability to move into and through this ascension process with more ease and grace. So enjoy the subtle challenge of this week. Take a look at, pull back the lens on your life, and with the viewpoint, the perspective of the objective, divine observer of your life, look at all the moving parts. Find that common theme, that common narrative, that common denominator that keeps you making self-negating choices. And then vow to make a different choice, even one different choice. One step in a bold, new, and different direction. I want to wish you so much love and peace this week. Thanks for watching. Mwah. Bye-bye.